You're setting
Wait,
up to
what?
record.
I guess we are recording. Yep.
It's
She.
a random episode. We're just
Oh,
talking.
because it's random, you're gonna
Okay.
start it at a random time?
Oh
Yeah.
my god, you already
Said
started recording?
I know. She tried us. Tried us. She didn't even ask
Okay.
us, what are we talking
Yeah,
about,
he didn't
guys?
even ask. What if I was saying
it's a
something very
random.
personal?
Don't step away from you to fulfill what other people want to hear because you're not a jukebox. You're a creative human being.
Moi j'en ai marre, je vous l'ai déjà dit. Y a pas que moi, y a surtout les esprits. Jusqu'à la mort, c'est ça la vie.
We from the old school. Don't let them rope you. You running things, stay in your lane, wishing to smoke you.
Grenade à la sauce. Ça qui mourit, ça fait aïe.
Okay. Yeah. So the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other day, I was munchies, and it's like
This is gonna be good.
it's like 11 p.m. No, it's like 1 a.m. actually. I'm like, shit, I'm hungry as fuck. So I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to McDonald's. So I go to McDonald's, and while I'm going there, I have Trevor Noah. His episodes now are like recorded and posted as podcasts.
Wait, what? He
For
doesn't
whatever
have the
reason.
show anymore?
Yeah, he still has the show on TV, but every episode is now kind of like the audio is saved as a podcast.
Oh,
And you
that's
can listen to
cool.
it wherever you listen to podcasts.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Me
Mhm.
neither.
So I had him on, and I'm driving, and then I get there, and he was talking about how even with this giant tax code that, like, in the giant tax code that Trump gave to, the administration gave to rich people, with like all of like already all of the money problems, like the fact that yes, America is quote unquote doing fine, like economically right now, but it's really not looking at the middle class, not looking at poor people. People are still, like a lot of people are doing worse than they were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even a color thing, it's kind of a cross,
Mhm.
And basically the administration has added like a new restriction right before the holidays, right before Christmas, added new restrictions for food stamps.
Word.
So yeah, so like I'm in the car and I'm just sitting there, right? And just thinking about like, some families that's like, that's the money that they're like waiting on, like they're already like banking on it. It's the holidays, so it's like people are like planning to like cook and do all of these things and take advantage of sales and things like that to bulk up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when, for no reason whatsoever, because what exactly do you get out of restricting people's access to food? Even if you say that, like, oh yeah, like people are eating food, like people are taking advantage of the system, every month they get a set amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
If they go over, if they buy whatever they do with that money, that's it. It's not like a credit, like they don't get more money. So
Right.
it's like whatever money you already is like
Giving
allocated
them.
to it, it's
Mhm.
already that. The only reason why you're like looking at what they're buying and doing this is because you're trying to control the poor. You're not
Right.
really, like trying to do nothing. That's why they always start talking about ethics and morals and things like that. So I'm
Mhm.
sitting there in the car and I'm thinking about all of these things, and I'm like, this is a country that, like, by law, restaurants in like supermarkets and delis or whatever, they have to throw away the food they have. They can
Mm-hmm.
even give the food away because of like potential for like food poisoning and things like that. You're throwing, like, Americans waste so much food.
Mhm.
And it's not like the country doesn't have the money for food, and it's not like the country is lacking in the amount of food available. But you're
Mhm.
doing these things to people. Why? And you have people who have the nerve to kind of like, try to defend things like that. And I'm just sitting there in the car and I start like ball out crying, guys. Like, I was crying. I was literally
Yeah.
sitting at like in the window of the girl who's there. I can't even explain to her what's happening.
That's
because
so
I'm like
awkward.
crying and I'm laughing because it's like, how do
Mhm.
you explain this shit to somebody? And it's
Yeah.
like it was just like this like wave of emotion that was just like, we created this world.
Ugh. You know how I feel
We
about that shit. Why you
created
have to
this
do that?
world. We created this reality. We created
Everything.
this life. We set up the rules, and
Mm-hmm.
then we sit here and we act like, oh,
It
is
can
it
be
Mhm.
changed.
nature?
We pretend that we can
Is
change it.
it like, it's like, is it?
Yo.
I really just don't know. How do you do this? Like, how do you
Mm.
work this out? How do you? And
Mm.
it's like, you made this up. All of
Mm.
this, it's all
Everything.
up in you.
Yep.
Like, so
Yep.
it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You are choosing this. You
Yep.
are choosing this. This is a
Mm-hmm.
choice that you are making.
Mm-hmm. Some people will argue with you and be like, oh, but this is the way the world has been, and this is the way it always will be. But why? You do understand
Hmm.
that we are the one that do that. And
I
okay,
mean,
I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish. Go on, Cass, because I
no,
feel like I'm
you
about
are
to go this.
starting. I'm the one who. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I was saying is, it might be taking this way out of context, but this is every time somebody say those things to me, it irks me to my core, right? Because I'm like, can you imagine if every single human beings were thinking the way you thinking right now? We would not have evolved from anything. We would not have gotten out of the cave because why? That's the way it's always been. That's where we've always slept. What's the point of building a house? That's stupid. Okay? It's like saying, oh yeah,
Hmm.
we use horses. What's the point of building a car? You know? It makes no sense. We are here,
Hmm.
right? We are alive to evolve, to change as we go. Even us, we notice how we grow. We grow literally from day to day. You might not see that because you're not thinking about that, but you literally grow from day to day. Like I've noticed that within myself. You might ask me a question today and I give you an answer, and you ask me that question tomorrow, and I'm like, holy shit. I slept on
Hmm.
it. I have a whole new
Mhm.
perspective about that.
Yep.
Hmm.
Let me tell you how wrong I am, or let me tell you why I thought the way I thought before. Right? So you're gonna
Hmm.
sit here and tell me, oh well, that's the law. That's the way that's been. That bullshit. We've been doing this. Like you mean to tell me that the same shit that used to apply 100 years ago, you expect them to apply right now in today's world? Like, how's that possible? Oh yeah, but our grand grandfather did this. Yes, they did this to establish something. Just like you are here now, that way you can establish something on your own. And I'm pretty sure the people that are coming after you are gonna have to establish things that works for them and their time. Like, how are you so stuck in one way of living and be like, well, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it has to be. Says who? Says who?
Hmm.
Like, you did this. You created that. You chose this. I don't have to abide by that because you chose this. What makes it impossible for me to come around and be like, well, if we find a better way for this to work, why can't it? You know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, but yeah, I completely understand why you
But I
will
think
cry.
sometimes it's like people really just act like, there is no better way. There's
Right.
this aspect
I
of
think
people who just think, go ahead,
it's
Cass.
because like people don't realize that they also need help themselves, and people don't want to be the needy ones, which is what they want you to think. Like they want you to think that whenever you didn't make it to be rich, it's your fault. Therefore, you
Hmm.
asking for help is like a
Mm.
dishonor. So a lot of people want to act like, oh, they got it and whatever. Like a lot of like people that are like on government help right now, they don't even understand what government help is, and they're like, yeah, I'm paying my taxes so that some lazy people
Oh
can
my
get shit.
god.
And then come to find out, then they find out, oh shit, I'm affected by this too. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like a lot of people that just want certain like laws to change and certain
Hmm.
things to change, and they feel like, oh, it's not gonna hit them
Hmm.
because like I'm the middle class. I work hard for my shit, because they have this misconception that maybe like they think like poor people are lazy and poor people work less, when in reality You get to be rich, you don't get to work as hard.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The poorer you are, the more expensive
Oh
it
my
is.
God, the
The
harder
poorer
it is
you
to get
are,
out.
the harder you have to work. The
Mhm.
poorer you are, the more that you have to do. When you poor, that's when you get to have overdraft on your account. When you didn't have a $0, now you just have negative $35. You
Mhm.
don't get to have,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, like
They
just
make it and so that work is ethic. You
Yeah.
work because you are a good person.
Right,
Good
right,
mm-hmm,
people work.
right.
mm-hmm.
Somehow,
I want to be evil so
somehow,
bad, you
not
guys.
doing work is great for rich people,
Oh
and doing
yes,
work
because they
is
already
what
have
poor
what
people
we are
are supposed to
craving
do.
for,
And
Right.
apparently.
they
And
package
how
it for
you
you.
calling poor people lazy, and you don't realize a lot of like rich people are lazy, and that's why they don't want, that's why
And basically how
like the
they got
whole trickle
rich.
down economy is not working,
Right.
because the richer they are, the greedier they are. They want people at the bottom to keep working for them so that they can keep buying private airplane and shit.
See,
And every time they want to feel better about themselves, they go to a soup kitchen, they snap a
mm,
picture of them on Instagram, and all of a sudden they're like, I don't know, they're saving the
oh
world.
yeah.
And my problem is with people who are, kind of really adamant about, well, yeah, like, because, like, I studied poli sci,
Mhm,
so most of my classes were with, like, white young
mhm,
men out of conservative families.
mm.
So a lot of the discussions that we would have about these things when they come up would be about, well, yeah, like, how
Would
else,
it
like, that's
be?
how the world
Yeah.
works.
Oh.
That's how the world works.
Mhm.
Like what, like how else, like they talk to you as if you're completely naive
Right.
to even
Or
ponder
question
about a
it. Yeah,
different way
yeah,
of
yeah,
doing
yeah.
things. It's like, oh, you're so like, oh, that's just ridiculous. I can't even speak to you right now because
Mhm,
like
mhm,
you're not
mhm.
even making sense. Like you're no longer having an academic conversation. You're no longer having a conversation worth having once you want to step out of the status quo.
Mhm.
You're already kind of like a crazy person who's like, okay, I'm talking about real possible things that are
Right, right.
possible.
They make it
There's
seem like
this
if it hasn't
idea
been
of
done,
like,
yeah.
But I
yeah,
mean,
like
if
there's
it's
like
in their
this
advantage, why
this
would they even want
condition,
it to change?
right?
You know
Like
what
this
I mean?
condition of
Mm.
like what is possible and what is impossible, and you start realizing that what is possible for them is what is convenient for them.
Mm.
That's
That's a whole
correct.
word.
Oh my
It's
gosh, you
A
like,
said it.
whole
You
word.
said it.
yeah, it's like, yeah, like, so like what's impossible is what they just don't want to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like you start paying attention to just how they sell, like they sell poor people this idea of, like meritocracy. All you have to do is
Oh
work
my
hard enough.
God.
all you have to
Yeah,
do
right.
is all you have to do is focus. All you have to do is
That
save
works
this
for
money.
them.
All you have to do is recycle. Like, what
Bruh.
the fuck is recycling going to do when you have multi-billion-dollar companies that are dumping shit in the ocean? Women, like, I
On the
have like
one
a
little
drawer
cup.
full of plastic bags. That's what will save the fucking planet. Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I
You know
was
what I mean?
No.
there was this news reporting about the Paris uh thing that they have going on right
Climate
now,
Mhm,
accord.
the
Mhm.
yellow
mhm.
vests, and then
Oh no.
somebody like had like a little like a fire in the middle of the street. And I remember somebody commented on the article that says, "Oh my gosh, like these liberals, like
Mm.
I thought they care about the environment. Now like they burning a
Oh
fire. Like,
my
bitch, get the fuck out of
God.
here."
Yeah.
Out of your
Out
priorities,
of like all
it's
of the
like
things that are polluting the
pain,
planet, this is
extra
the one
That's the one
pain.
that's achievable.
that
That's the
bothers
one they
This
can
you.
that's
attain.
what's gonna
That's the
do
one they
it.
can attain. Can you imagine if you start talking about, oh yeah, those big companies are doing that? People tune you out. The moment you talk
I
about,
mean, all with
Mm-hmm.
all of the toxic that we are dumping in the
bruh,
air, it's not gonna like it's not gonna do anything until somebody start a fire because they're not getting paid enough and the pension is getting
but
fucked
the
with.
funny thing is, you get the attention, but you get the bad intention. It's kind of like, oh, you a hypocrite. Look at you. You're doing this and you're talking bad about this person. And it's like, you do understand the scale of things, right? And people feel like the moment you talk about something that they feel like is impossible, it's not even impossible to everybody, right? It's about how they feel. And if they feel like it's impossible, they tune you out. They're not even able to listen to you. Like I know for a fact that every time I have conversations about people, about the world, I sound like a lunatic, and people just look at me like, well, those things are not possible. I'm like, okay, but says who? Why
Mhm.
are they not possible? You know, like
Mhm.
you're telling me that you not only do we like talking about the food, not only do we give things such importance, right, we make it impossible for everybody to reach those things. We created money, we give money the importance that we give it, and then we went ahead and give people impossible amounts that they can never ever use throughout their lifetime, throughout their kids, their grandkids, their grand grandkids. And then you're gonna tell me you're gonna take away $50 from somebody that's starving, and you think you're doing something?
Mhm.
Are you shitting me?
Mhm.
Here's another argument that I've heard was well, we need shoe shiners too and we need maids too. No,
Mm,
we don't. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, life skills, it's a thing that, people should learn to do. You don't need to have another human to shine your
bruh.
shoe for you to feel successful. Why can't we just all be able to live comfortably
Mm-mm.
and shine our own
And I
shoe?
mean, even let's say okay, you do need that, right? You do need people to shine your shoes. You do need, if somebody is spending 40 hours a
Mm.
week, 50 hours
Doing
a
that
week
shit for you,
on any type of task,
They should be
if
able to
you're
afford
if you're
life.
bruh.
yeah, if you're going to argue with me that you need every single one of these professions, every single one of these professions should let people
Bruh.
afford a life
And the only
because they're
reason
providing
why
a service.
certain job are looking down upon, it's because they're not getting paid enough. If all of the job, if the cooks and a doctor was getting paid the same, nobody would be like, "Oh, look at that cook. I bet like he didn't even have any aspiration in life. I bet he didn't want to
Hmm.
do this. I bet he didn't want to do that." Because people start judging your life choices depending on how much money what you doing is
Right.
making you.
And title.
There was
Your
a
title.
time that writers and philosophers used to make bum
Hmm.
amount of
Mhm.
money. They would be
Hmm.
invited to the president's house, to the king's house and stuff to talk about knowledge, and those people were well respected and they were making buku money, like castles were being bought for them. They get like all expense paid trip and everybody wanted to talk
Mhm.
to them, and they were regarded as high like members of
Mhm.
society. And now
Hmm.
somebody go and try to like study arts and
Oh
try
yeah.
to be like a you know
They look
try to
at
be
you
a
as
writer.
lazy. They were like, "Oh, you just don't want to
They
go
look at you
work."
like, oh, you lazy, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. Why you studying
Hmm.
philosophy and blah blah blah? You have no aspiration in life.
It's
It
all
becomes
about
less.
STEM
Right. Every
majors.
time you don't want to,
Yep.
you want to step out of the norm, it becomes a problem, and it makes no sense to me.
Hmm.
And
Which prove that it's not that people are lazy. It's just that people decide,
right.
like, the society decide what they want to see as lazy and what they don't want to
Mhm.
see as lazy. And
And not
whoever is
just
not
that
making money,
too,
you're not making
and that's
money.
what's happening. And what's happening is that a society by default like needs things like
Bruh, can you
art,
imagine a room without
needs
art?
things like needs philosophy. Like a society
Mhm.
needs culture, because once you start kind of like chipping that off and selling that off, you end up just having a factory.
You're just
You don't
robots.
have any people who are connected. You don't have a nation. You don't have people who are working towards a singular goal. Everybody's just doing their own little things. They're just living in boxes from box to box, and just, like, and then
Mhm.
that's life. And it's like people talk about, oh, STEM majors and STEM majors and STEM majors. What is happening, and you see that in terms of like technology
Mhm.
these days, right? So you see that in terms of like the way that they build their things. Like how many times like has Facebook run into issues like, oh shit, like the algorithm is doing that, like they're really kind of amplifying these hate messages. I didn't know it
Duh.
would do that. I didn't know it would do that. I didn't know when people have, the option of anonymity, that, they would be like very, very like giant pieces of
Mm.
shit. You know what I mean? And it's like you need somebody in there with a humanities background,
Mm.
people who have studied sociology, people who have studied philosophy, people who have studied anthropology, who are able, because you're building a virtual world. Because the thing is that like when you're online, when you're on these social media sites, you're not just you're not just posting
Mhm.
something online. You're living in
Mhm.
that virtual world, because you turn off your phone, you're still thinking about what you wrote. You're doing something and you're thinking about what you could write about it. You
Mm-hmm.
even like be talking to people and you're trying to express an emotion, and what you bring up
Bruh.
is a meme. You
Bruh.
try to
Or
explain
an
the
Yep.
emoji.
meme to
Or an
explain what
emoji
you're
that we did not.
feeling. Or an emoji. You know what I mean? So we are already living a virtual
LOL.
we're living a virtual reality, and you have these people who are building they are building this
Mhm.
world for us, because that's what social media sites are. They are worlds that are built for us. And if the person building that world doesn't think about ethics, doesn't think about people, doesn't think about human design, doesn't think about human
Mhm.
computer interaction, you're not thinking about society when you're building your technology. If you're just building it in terms of like, okay, so ads, I can manipulate people
Mm.
in doing things that I want them to do so I can make
Mhm.
more money.
Yep.
If that's where you're starting the conversation, what kind of world do you think we're going to keep having? Because the world is going to be more and more and more heavily
Mhm.
influenced by technology, not the other way.
Yep.
So the people who are working on these things are people who need to be thinking about these things. But when we're super focused on STEM majors like fucking Zuckerberg, who like
I am
dropped out of
convinced
school,
that kid is
did not
definitely
even
like an
graduate.
alien.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't like you didn't even graduate, so you didn't even finish checking all of your
Probably didn't
classes
even get to take humanity class before he dropped
at
out.
all. So like all you know is numbers, and you're like a little fucking robot, and you don't know how to
Yeet.
care about
Just
people and
because
how
somebody
to
all of a sudden have a lot of money
Bruh.
doesn't mean they are
That's the
emotionally
only word I got
intelligent.
to explain that. Bruh.
right. And you're trusting them, to make decisions for you about what
Oh
is
my
relevant, what
God.
is important to you, what you should care about. Like you're trusting them to make these decisions for you, but these people are like not people that you
But I feel like that's
genuinely
on
trust.
people though.
And
Like
this is so
why can't
important.
we make that separation? Like, yes, this is a whole world.
I think that
I
like
think
yeah, like
it's
it would
not
be an
just on
interesting
people. I
I
think
think
it's
I think it would be an interesting thing to say that it's just on people. But first of all, you have to realize that the way that we've built this world, the way that we train people to interact with this world is not based on critical
Hmm.
thinking. We don't teach people these skills.
Yo.
So how exactly do you expect people to suddenly develop like years and years worth of technological literacy out of nothing?
especially like when usually when when a world is changing, it's because people's mind are changing and people's way of seeing things are changing and people's way of doing things is also changing. When this world is changing, it's just somebody at the executive level that decides, this is the update that we're gonna make in this shit, and people are gonna
Hmm.
adjust to it. So it's
Hmm.
it's not us changing the world around us, it's the world changing and people just trying to like scrambling to adjust to it. Although a lot of the time everybody is not participating in that change that is
Mhm.
made in the world.
You have
Yeah.
no choice but to adapt.
However, this is just a select few. And it's like, okay, like this is the choices that you have. Like you're gonna have to agree with the terms and conditions. And there's
Hmm.
not
And you
really
don't even know what you're agreeing to. You don't even
anything that
know what you're agreeing to when you press that agree button. You're like, yeah, I agree. I just need to be on there. So I'm just gonna agree.
And they put the burden like the same way that you said, you like it's supposed to be like it's on the people, but you're designing this
Mhm.
technology for people. You're designing this technology for me to use. How is it that you want me to have your same level of
Right, 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 right,
understanding
right.
this technology
Okay.
in order
Yeah.
for me to use it?
and keep in mind
Like
that
that's
usually people
not
are not asked what they want. They find out what is gonna be
right.
best to show people in order to make money.
Everything is curated.
I was listening to this podcast about how when they were she talks about how women were not considered in a lot of things that were being made in the
Mm-hmm.
world, like mainly infrastructure. And how, like, she was talking about how even like with clearing the snow, they decided to start clearing the snow from the main road instead of the smaller roads, because men tend to travel by main roads more than women,
That's another
because typically men
conversation,
get
bro.
up and go to work. Whereas women get up, they go to, I don't know, drop their kids to school, then did do this errand, go to work, do this errand, do this errand. So they tend to take like
The smaller roads.
um smaller roads, so that they will clear those snows after. And women tend to walk around more than men. So there were a lot of pedestrians getting killed all the
Hmm.
time during winter. The reason why is it makes, like, it's a smarter choice to start clearing from in
Mm.
to outside. There's no pedestrian on the freaking
Mm.
I-95 and
Mhm.
shit. But they chose not to do that because nobody asked women what they wanted. It was just like a group of men in the
That's for
boardroom
everything.
thinking,
That's
yeah,
why I'm
you
like
know what?
taking.
I
I'm
just
like
want to
that's
get up
literally for
and go to
everything we
work.
have. They
So
always have a bunch of white men in there.
they just clean it. It's the same thing with like social media. They're not asking people what they want. They're like, well, I want to be able to make sure that these
Oh
ads
my
are
god.
visible because they're
Yeah.
gonna make us money. We want these things. We want
True.
these things. We want these things. They're thinking about what they want. They're not thinking about what you want. So
Yeah, and
it's not.
also like Silicon Valley has this obsession of like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. We should do it, right? Let's do it. That's their entire thinking process. That's their entire thinking process. They're not like,
Well,
okay,
how would
so
it
wait a
hurt this
minute.
person?
If
How would
I
it
do
affect that
this,
person? What?
it,
right,
it's
like,
it really is that, like, it's not an adult way to think about things. Everybody wanna just be like, yeah, we're taking risk and we're being
Yeah,
cool, we're
bro.
just
Yeah, bro.
going with the
Yeah,
flow,
bro.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like they think we can do it, we definitely can do it. And it's like you don't have to prove that you can do everything. Just because something is cool, just because
Doesn't
you
mean you
could do
should.
it, doesn't mean it needs to be done. Doesn't mean it
Oh
needs
my
to be out
gosh, I
there in
feel
the
like I was
world.
about to quote Kanye West when you did that, and I was like, no, let me
What?
not, because
Fuck that nigga.
because just because
Wait, is it a
you
Jesus
can do
quote?
it,
Let
but
me
I don't
know,
think you
because
should.
he's on that Jesus way right
No,
now.
it's like one of the songs that he had
Oh,
before he
I
was
see.
like completely
Okay.
insane.
Okay. I'm just
Um,
making sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do listen to like
I was like,
pre-Kanye
damn it,
Kanye.
Kanye, why are you in
He
my head
can
right
still be
now?
in your head.
Go away.
Yeah, I'm
He's
like, he can still
talented.
be in your head.
Nah,
But
nah, I'm good, bro.
love, enjoy.
Fuck Kanye.
It's above me
My
now.
favorite phrase of 2019. It's above me now. But I definitely understand what you're saying. And I do know that yes, they make decisions for us. But we give it the importance that we do. I know it's not on the people, and I know that, but I still cannot get away from the idea that we don't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a choice. We killed MySpace. Why? Because a new brand shiny thing came through. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a power that we don't.
But my thing is that like I think we have a set of
Mm,
predefined choices that are not very very
okay.
different on
Yes,
each other.
Okay.
That's what I
very
I agree
think
true.
with you.
And not
I
because
only
agree.
that,
I'm
I
not
feel like
arguing.
I don't think, like, here's the thing though. I feel like a lot of, like, the older people get, the less they try to look for new
Ah,
things.
yeah.
And I think Facebook had the advantage of getting a whole
Yeah, they started
generation
with
of
the old
people
people.
who are probably now like in their like late 20s and 30s and stuff, because and then now they're just,
That's true. I
because
didn't
that's
even
how you
think
have like
Facebook was
everybody
cool
now.
in the beginning.
And Facebook is like buying IG, buying WhatsApp, and
And they
everything
buying
else is
each other.
just,
yeah,
And
everywhere
that's
you are now,
and
it's going to be them.
I think like I think like it's a lot of that because like a lot of people think that technology has come and has opened these doors, right? So for example, let's take IG. And a lot of people are making their money off of IG now, and a lot of people feel like they're entrepreneurs and they're like yeah, they're saying like they're like entrepreneurs and they're influencers, and they're making their own money and they're independent and things like that. But you start thinking about you're working, but like, yeah, a lot of people are like, they make their own money and they're independent, and you shouldn't be worried about like
Mm-hmm,
working a 9 to 5, like that's
mm-hmm,
no longer the wave and things like that. And on one hand, it's like, yes, you're able to make more money than, maybe you're making more money now than you thought you ever could, like
mm-hmm,
working for like a regular
mm-hmm.
company or whatever. But you're still using a system that is designed without your input. So whatever Instagram decides to do, your entire
Right. And
business
if they
depends
shut
on
up
it.
for one day, you're dead.
Yep.
So
Right.
yeah, like you have a
Utu kaka.
problem if they like they just decided to
Mm-hmm.
remove likes, for example. If your business model included people being able to see how many likes you have and things of that nature, you're ukaka, like you're not gonna be able to make your money like that way anymore. And you're
Just
looking
like
at it
your
on
ukaka.
another way too, is that like while you're saying like, oh, I'm making money, I'm making this, I'm making that, what you're really doing is you're
Right.
working for Instagram. You are creating
You
content for
giving it
them, you
popularity.
are
Mm-hmm.
creating traffic for them, and you are like creating this space on there, and they're making
Yes, but they still,
exponentially more
even then, they
money
still
out
got
of what you're
greedy.
creating
They still got
than
more
you could
greedy. That pisses me off
ever.
because
You know
they
what I
still
mean?
got more greedy. And
They
they like, now you gotta
they
pay
are
me in order for somebody else to see your business. Like,
For 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 for, for
yes,
people
okay,
to see your posts
how?
and
yeah,
stuff.
you basically
But
make
now they got more
Instagram what
greedy.
it is. You are Instagram. If nobody
If
That would
was
everybody
never
just stopped
Instagram,
happen.
using Instagram right now and it's
That
just
would never
it's
happen.
dead.
right? But they're still not like a lot
I
of
mean, it
people talk
can.
about like the way that we produce data for these companies, as in like we're the product of like we're the product
Hmm.
and they're just like trying to sell us. But really what it is we're fuel. We're the gas that like they
God
put in the
damn.
car. We're not even the product. They just use our labor
It's still like a nine
to
to
make
five.
all of the money
You're
that
not
they
truly
can,
working
and they
for
act
yourself.
like,
Yep.
yeah. And not even just that, it's like, because the idea of entrepreneurship is that you're
Right,
making the
right, right,
money off
right.
of your talent.
Of
like
your
like
sweat.
all of that your talent is worth, you're making that money, but they're
Mm-hmm,
making
mm-hmm,
so much
mm-hmm.
more money off of
It's
your
like a
talent
freaking
than you could
circus.
ever make. But it is your talent, it
Right.
is worth all of that, and you have no type of kind
And
of
you have no way
how do
to
you
cut
argue
off the
with it?
middleman.
They
Yeah,
just
you
tell
don't
you,
have, you
okay,
don't have
so
any
don't
way.
post.
You don't have any ways to cut them off.
Yeah,
Nope.
Ugh.
they're like, don't
Yeah.
post,
You know what?
don't
I'm
post,
tired of
fuck
thinking
out of here,
about those things. I'm
and then
gonna be
that's
just
it.
like those people that are like, oh, well, this is a computer. I log in and they get me. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. Hey, what's up? I'm so serious because I'm tired of thinking about things, because when you end up overthinking about things, you end up saying, what's the fucking point of it all? You cannot get out.
Well, this is what my
Bruh,
thesis is about, so I get to
you know
like
It's
sit
what?
in this
like you
topic.
do you even choose anything? Do you
Seriously, you
even choose
can't.
to breathe in the first place?
Actually,
Like,
you don't choose to
what
breathe.
are
Have
your
you ever tried to
choices in
stop breathing?
life?
That shit happens by itself. It's like, we gotta go.
I know the predisposed
Yes,
choice
yeah,
is to
no,
automatically want to like breathe, and I don't know,
right.
even if you're drawing, you try to push somebody down so that you can breathe, like
But it's like, do
You
you
don't
really
choose
choose
anything.
to do
becoming a
You
murderer.
anything
literally don't
though?
choose
Like, do you really
anything.
choose anything? You have options that are just
I
all
mean,
around you.
we guys are talking about choosing.
Listen,
Are we
we're
even
not
here
gonna go
making this
that deep,
podcast?
because
Is
if
my
we go
question.
that, you know what I was thinking about?
It's like,
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a very stupid thought that I had by myself in my head that nobody should ever hear about. I was about to kill what was I about to kill? A roach. I think it was a roach, or was it a moosh? I don't remember. But it was a fly or a roach. I was about to kill it, and my brain was like, "Shit! Can you imagine? You know how like you guys were talking like people die. You know, it really doesn't mean anything." And I'm like, What if this nigga has a family? Wait.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine like if
Yes,
there is something that's like
yes,
bigger than us and just
exactly.
squash us every
That's
time?
Yeah,
exactly
like
Like
what
we
below
it
just
is.
Earth.
like
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the evil. I'm the evil one in this story. Like, shit, can you imagine how big you see me? Like, I'm a giant to you. And here I am, about to take your life. Not because you did anything to me, just because you inconvenienced me. Like, you look ugly to me. I can't stand you. You did not touch my food. You did not do anything. And I'm about to kill you.
So
And you have a family waiting for you.
well,
so like right
I
under.
used to kill ant a lot when I
Wow.
was a kid,
I
right?
mean,
I
your
would just
love
like
for
kill
I'm
being
like,
them.
I'm
death, we know.
tired.
And
I'm like, you'll find another way home.
so so I went to an event and I was walking back with some friends and then there was like a an ant that was like on the pavement and stuff, and I went out of my way to just
You
like freaking
fucking
squash
evil.
it, like just like I stepped on it, and then the person next to me was like, "Why did you do that?" I'm like, and he said, "You just
Exactly.
took a life and you don't even know why." I'm like, I just like to kill them.
Exactly how I
Trash.
felt.
That
I'm like, oh
uh,
my God,
you
I
know,
just took a lot.
and it's like, yo, like every time I'm going to work, there's this elevator. Like you get out of the train, and everybody's going up the elevator, and it's like a run of fumi, like a run of ant that just is going up, just like the ant like that I used to kill.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, like what am I like? What is this world? Like, why am I in it? And then when I'm looking at these people, I'm like, look at these people, just
So
fueling
like
the machine, and I'm part of it too.
in that same like vein of thought, right? This is how I think about kind of being vegan. I mean, I know we all love to hate vegans. I love to hate them too. And but on one hand, it's like this is the way I think about it, right? I think about it as the same way that like during slavery times, a lot of white people or like people who enslaved other people, they had different ideas about the people who were actually enslaved. Some people really did think that black people did
Mm.
not have that much of a consciousness, you know and so for me, I
Mm-hmm.
feel that way about animals.
No.
I'm like,
Yeah.
how do we know that
Mm-hmm.
they like don't
Mm-hmm.
understand every single thing and
Exactly
we
what I
just
was
don't speak the
thinking. Oh
same
my
language?
God.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, every single time, like we find like people who like are regular people, like most people find so many different reasons why
I don't
we
see.
still
Yeah,
kill
yeah,
and eat animals, right? We'll say things like,
that shit.
I mean, it's
Oh my God, you
tradition.
open a new
That's just what
conversation.
people do.
Tradition. Remind
you
me of that
know,
word.
we say things, like, like they don't really understand anything, or they don't feel pain, or like what are you gonna do? Like, if I don't eat it, that's not gonna stop them from being
We
killed.
do find
We
excuses,
find
but
every
they taste
single
so good.
rationalization for that. And it's like now you start having a
Yes,
whole new understanding about like slavers. You're like, wait,
that
hold
shit
up.
fucks with
Like
my mind.
when you're in a system, when you're in the
Yo.
middle of a system,
So exactly,
like you'll
the
be
white people
getting
be
caught
thinking,
up,
why the fuck should
man.
we stop? What are they gonna
Like
do
Hmm.
if we stop? What the fuck are they gonna do if we stop?
exactly. Like every single rationalization, and you feel like once you're in a
Bruh,
specific a position of power,
I don't think I
Hmm.
your
could have power. I felt
perspective
so bad.
changes.
Yep.
And a lot of times you feel like even when you're in power, you feel
Mm-hmm.
like other
Mm-hmm.
people are the ones who are like crazy. You feel like
Hmm.
your reasons for maintaining the status quo and maintaining
Hmm.
power are perfectly fine. They're perfectly rational. Other people are the ones with the problem. If they knew or if they had power, they would understand you too. And very likely they would, because then they would have power too
I
and they
mean,
would
I
fall
do
into the
want the
same
power
Yo.
to
trap.
understand rich people for real, bruh.
Yeah, I'd like to
Who's
know.
gonna help me out?
I'd like to find
I
out.
wanna be I
Maybe
wanna
I
be
could be
very
different.
understanding, you know.
Maybe I could be different. You don't know.
I wanna understand you
Let me
people.
understand you.
Can you
Talk
give
to my
me
dick.
that power?
Talk to me in numbers. Talk to me in numbers and I'll understand you. But no, I
Yeah.
mean, I try not to overthink this life thing because I'm like, if we're really gonna go that deep, like there are certain things, you know how like you say you just can't stop doing it, or that's tradition, that's what we've always done. During this holiday season, I've done that a lot. Like I've thought about it a
Hmm.
lot. I'm like, so I no longer, like you when you no longer believe in certain things, or you no longer understand, the spiritual reason why people do things like Christmas and all those stuff. And I'm like, that shit is not, that shit is not it for me, right? But at the
Forget.
same time, I'm like, oh my God, if I end up having a kid, that kid's gonna be screwed up. Do I take away everything from them, every tradition from them? Like, would they look outside their windows and see other people's trees and wonder, why don't we have a tree? Why don't you give me gift? And I could be easily saying, like, I can buy you a gift tomorrow. It would mean the same thing. Why do I have to buy it for you today? Do I have to go that far out? Like I
Hmm.
really like this year at this time. No,
Step
honestly, no,
one,
this year
save
I went
money
out of
and
my
get the
way. I've
therapist.
never had a Christmas tree in my home. This year I went out of my way and bought one, right? Just to see what it would be like or what it would feel like. You know what?
The
I
system
put
is
it up and
safety
I'm
you,
like,
girl. You are logged
I can
in.
stand you.
The
No, I
password
put
is
it in
entered.
and I'm like, that shit literally didn't do nothing for me. I unplugged it, right? But I'm like, do I need a tradition? You know what I'm saying? Because like, do I need tradition to hold me and make this life has more meaning than it has? Because if I let go of everything, who do I become? You know what I'm saying? Like if you let go of every tradition just because you have a difference of
Hmm.
opinions or just because you don't believe in certain things anymore, where do you fit in? Like where do you go? What do you do?
My comment on this though, I feel like you gave something a try
Mhm,
and it didn't work out for you. And the fact that you are able to step out of the thing that you already know for sure, like you don't care for it,
mhm.
and trying something else, at the end of the day, didn't go well. Like you didn't like it, you didn't want it. But the fact that you are willing to step outside of this and give the other thing a try to see how it works, that's what's beautiful. And I think the problem is that people are not willing to step out of what the comfort zone is, to step out, excuse me, and try to like figure out why the other person thinks like that. That's the problem. Let's say, you have a kid and they don't see a Christmas tree. Big fucking deal. They don't see a Christmas tree. I mean, there are other people that, that doesn't celebrate. But at the same time, based on what you did, you would probably be willing to give it a try
Right.
to see, if it works for the kid.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I know what you're saying, but I feel like it was a beautiful thing that you did that, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are just in their bubble and they don't care about what's going on outside of them.
Right. But my main question is, do we give in to tradition or do we hold on to, well, this is what I believe in now. I should not have to bend over for my tradition to still have meaning, if that makes sense.
You can always make new
Yeah,
traditions.
that's true.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, traditions change all
a
the
tradition
time.
is meaning that you add to a certain ritual.
Hmm.
So that's something that you can always pick something, and that can be the thing that you and your family, like what y'all do at this
Yeah,
time.
get money.
So maybe
Yeah.
you don't want to be in the cold, like doing the whole Christmas shit.
Shh.
Maybe every day you go to an island, you go get
Hey,
some
you know
sun,
what? Don't
and
give me
finish
ideas.
like
Yeah,
Don't
a lot
give
of
me
winter.
ideas.
exactly. I mean, honestly, though, whatever works for you just works for
Facts.
you. You don't have to give in or not give in on anything. Um, for example, it's like, oh, like those things are like, oh, there are girls who like
Hmm.
this, and there are girls who are like that, and they put girls in two box,
Hmm.
where people are just very
Yeah.
complex. And just
Mhm.
because a girl is has like two things in common with
Does not
another
mean
girl
they're
doesn't
the
mean all
same.
of them
Yeah,
are like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Mhm.
It's the same thing with like the whole diamond thing. Nobody freaking cared about diamond 400 years
Bruh.
ago, and now everybody wants to have a diamond ring for their wedding. I mean, granted, I mean, I want a ring, I don't want a
But it's so
diamond
crazy.
ring.
But there are so many different stones that are so
Beautiful.
beautiful
Much
I
and
wanted
beautiful
that
than
are like that
right. I
diamond.
have
really
And
no
that's because
crazy
yes. I
history.
somebody
wanted an
You
emerald
know,
somebody
that's like
stone.
sold diamond to you, and the whole thing about like, oh yeah, a diamond is a girl's best friend was not a phrase that was
Bruh.
coined by a woman.
yeah.
It was coined by a man
Everything
who
was
was
coined
trying
by
to make
men.
some
Maybe
Wearing
money.
a
having
white dress
pads
was
like
coined by
readily
a man.
available when I
Wearing a
have my
white
period.
dress
That's
just
my
to
best
prove
friend.
to me that you pure. That was by a man. Like
So even if I was to get married, I don't want a diamond ring. At the
nah, I
same
like my
time,
ring.
I don't have a I don't know. There are lab made
No,
diamond,
yes, 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 yes.
and there are other
I wanted an emerald ring. I'm not gonna
stone
lie.
that do like look like diamond, but I don't know. I just for some reason, and I don't like I don't care like if other people want diamond ring.
Mm-hmm.
People are allowed to like what they like, but for like the history of
Mm-hmm.
diamond and the shit that was happening in Africa and the shit that is still happening in Africa and how it disrupts it, I
People don't
just
care
don't
about
feel
what the fuck happens in Africa.
Bruh, let's
what.
not.
I,
Let's not.
I said people don't care about what happens in Africa. Don't matter what it is
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shit.
that happens
Oh,
in
I see what
Africa.
you mean. Sorry, I'm tired, so I didn't even detect
But
the
it's good.
sarcasm in what you're saying. But honestly, though, it's just like somebody just come up with some shit. It's like people can literally sell you a piece of
Anything.
rock and make you want to buy
And
the
if you
rock. Like
don't, they make you
somebody
feel
can
hmm
stupid.
take the dirt from the ground and they're
Yeah.
like, dirt,
Millennials
the
are
new
killing the
thing
diamond
of
business.
2020. If you don't have dirt on your clothes, you're not hip. And all of a sudden, dirt
Hell
is sell
no. I'm
is selling
straight.
out. No,
hmm
because that's
Oh
how it
no, I know.
works. That's how people
And
do
that makes
it.
it
Yep.
makes you
So
feel like you on the outside. If you don't feel like the same thing is cool, if you're not on mainstream, they just like, is something wrong with you up there? Like, yes, yes.
yeah, and all that to say is to say, if you don't want to give into something, don't fucking give into it.
Mm.
hmm
You might save a lot of
Yeah,
money if you don't give into a lot of shit. Like I didn't buy anybody a gift this Christmas,
I
and I feel great.
well, I was gonna say I didn't either, but Rubens was like begging me for something. I just bought it. But I bought it the day after.
Damn.
No, no, I'm gonna be honest. I bought it the day after because I was like, shit, nigga got me a car. How ungrateful can I be? You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
You
Yeah, the gift
I
ungrateful.
didn't do it
now.
as in like, oh, here's your Christmas gift, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? Jesus was born this day, so here I am giving you a material gift this day. You know?
You just
But
want
it's
to
like
feel
the
good
gift
when
in
you're
advance.
driving that whip.
Yes, I wanted to like erase my little guilt. Like, oh, here you go. And it's a gift that I fucking wanted.
You could have
You
fucking
know,
need a
it's something
car.
that I wanted for
Mm-mm.
myself. You know what?
Shame,
I'm not
shame,
talking to y'all
shame.
no more. I'm not telling y'all my deep secrets no more. My deep inside
What?
no more.
Baby, you got me a car. I mean, you got me a car. Alright, cool. I guess I'll
Go
get you
go
something.
go go go.
Here's a coupon for every time you want a little
Y'all,
twist.
I hate y'all.
That's all.
I
You
hate y'all
dirty.
so
That's
this one is not going out. That's all I know. This one is
No, that's that. Make sure this whole thing is in.
I thought.
no.
My bad. My
No,
bad, guys.
seriously.
My
Okay,
bad.
talking about new traditions. What are your new
Mm.
traditions or resolutions that you want to have for
Yes,
2020 vision? I said I was not gonna give in.
2020. Oh my gosh, guys, it's
And she already is giving in. Such a weak little soul.
2020.
alright. Who wants to go?
2020.
2020.
2020, my resolution is to live my life
Mm.
like I am a white male and knows that I have privilege.
I wonder, how you gonna get all those rules?
No,
Who's gonna give you the blueprint?
you know what? I want to live it and see who's gonna
Oh,
check me
I'll
though.
be
I
Ooh,
mean,
ooh, who
I
gonna
know
check
they're
a
gonna
lot of
check
you?
people
me,
can check you. Let's
Who's
but
gonna
find
check
out.
me?
There,
like,
there are the
You
police,
listen,
you check
I
them
have
right
been
back.
black
seeing a
people,
lot of
the
things,
police,
and I'm
white
like,
women,
and
white
I'm
men.
asking
Check them
myself,
right back.
a lot of them don't even realize that the things that they're doing, and not the things that they asking, the things that they are demanding. and the things that they are expecting. And I don't know. I feel like this is the life that I want to live because I feel like every time I go on vacation, like to another country,
Bruh.
and people are like,
Talk
ma'am,
to them.
you want this? Ma'am, blah, blah, blah. American, you got that green dollar, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow.
Mm.
I'm like, wow, like, this is how white people must feel.
Mhm.
And I want to feel like that all the time. So this is my New Year
That's your
resolution. I
foreign
am gonna try
accent?
to live like a white man.
Damn. Cast resolution for 2020 is to be white,
No,
pretty
that's
much.
not what I
You know what I'm
said.
saying?
Don't say that. My 2020 resolution is to live my life like I am a white man. I'm gonna start demanding shit from
So
people. I am gonna start expecting them to do certain shit for me. I'm gonna start
so
to,
you want to be
I am
transracial?
no, no. I'm my identity is not gonna change. Just my attitude. Fresh by itself.
You trying to
No,
cut me?
I am cutting you.
Oh no! I hope you got
Cut it.
that. I
Cut
hope
it.
you got that.
Cut it.
She's trying to cut
Cut
me.
it.
No, I'm cutting her.
Cut
If
it.
That's
that
your
thing
white
end up in the
privilege already
recording, stop. Like,
talking.
if it will end up in the recording, both of you are
That's
getting
your
cut.
This
that's your white
episode way too
privilege
long.
already
We need
talking.
to cut
That
it.
oh, oh, I'm doing it, baby.
What a do? What a do?
Cut it. Cut it. Cut it.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah.
So, what's your resolution, Nessa?
Okay. For this year, well, I started December 31st. So, anyways, for 2020,
Vision.
I I want to. I don't know. This year, I kind of want to go in without a fixed goal, if that makes sense. Like, usually I have like a goal with numbers and blah, blah, blah. But I want to try something different this year. I just want to live. I just want to be. And whatever will be, will be. I know I might not be able to keep that up for long, but that's my wish for this year. I just want to be. I just want
All
to
right.
live and grow and change and love where my mind takes
Woo.
me and just be in tune more with myself. Like not be
Yes.
She's about
afraid
to
of
get high all 2020. High on life, I mean.
Hit me up.
no, seriously. I don't no like cuz sometimes I know that I do that. Like sometimes I'm afraid of my own thoughts, not in a bad way, but it's more like let's give this one to yourself, because people, and I feel like
Speak your mind, girl.
this is the year where I'm like, fuck what you think, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to think this is the normal for you, but this is what I feel like would work for me. So this is where I'm gonna go. So and also
Energy.
this year I want to go back to reading more books. I feel like I fell off that and it took me a minute to try to like come back. So
Whoop, whoop.
I want to
Oh,
read
we
more
might share a
books.
Hey.
list. Oh, we
I
might
have
share a list of books on the website. You guys can check
I
that out.
have so many things I want to
Ooh,
do.
we should share our
And
top
social
5 books
media.
for 2019. I read so
Yes.
many good books in
Did
2019. Oh my
I not
gosh.
just say,
Let's post it.
I cannot talk to you right now. I just
Sorry.
said I fell off that. Do I have five? I think I have like three max. I did not
Nesta.
read a
You
lot of books.
Okay,
do a lot
we'll do top
of
3.
audiobooks.
I do a
That's
lot
it.
of audiobooks, yeah. But
Those
then
count.
I have like,
I
oh,
don't like
okay, let's see.
audiobooks because I be falling asleep because people's voice be so nice and stuff, and I'm like, yeah.
See, no, I love audiobooks because it was getting harder for me to just sit still with a book in front of me and read. So it
Mhm.
allows me to just do whatever I'm doing while still listening. So I have some books. I'm still not finished with like two of them, but let me see what books I'm reading. Well, I was reading 2019. I was reading I read Hunger by Roxane Gay.
Yes.
Roxanne.
Yes, I read Hunger. I read another book
Fave.
by her again. Bad Feminist. I read that book.
Yes.
Yes, you
I
got
I
me
have
into
didn't
bought
that.
that
see that
book.
book.
I
You
have
got me.
bought that book like 10 times.
You got me into that actually. Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad.
I read Year of Yes by Shonda
Mm,
Rhimes.
yeah, I want to
Oh,
see
Um yeah, I read I started reading Not That Bad by Roxanne, but I'm not done yet.
that.
Um I know when I'm like into an author, I kind of go through their whole list of books that they've ever written. I'm like, okay, I'm getting this one next. I read Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I started reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I'm not done.
Mm.
I've read so
Tony
many
is
books.
tough.
are you
Um,
talking about you didn't read enough
See?
books? What's wrong with you?
hey, mind your
See?
business. I'm
Those were really
talking.
good
See?
books though, because
Oh,
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's quality over quantity too.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I literally just started this book called Gender Outlaw, by
Mm-hmm.
Kate Borstein. It talks about, obviously genders, and because I wanted to have a better understanding about that.
Mm-hmm.
Good,
And then
nice.
the last two books that I'm reading now is Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. I want to learn how to talk to strangers. I'm
Oh my
stupid.
god.
I'm
That should
stupid.
help you
I'm
out.
I mean, I don't
stupid.
know how we're gonna get you to talk to strangers when you get to
I know.
Carolina.
I know. And then the last one that I'm really into right now is called Quiet. It's called The
Oh,
Power.
I have that book.
Oh, really? I'm not. I just started. It's called The Power of Introverts.
I haven't started it.
Yeah,
But
by
yeah, cool.
Suzanne
Oh,
King.
Nessa, you definitely need that one.
Which one?
Mm-hmm.
The
The
one that
Power.
you just said.
You know what?
Quiet.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not. You
I
know what? We need
go
to have
on,
an
go
episode
on, go
about
on
that.
with your list. Go on with your
All
list.
right. I think I have one last book. What other book do I have? Oh my god, where did my list go? You guys made me start talking, and I can't stop when I start. Oh, I have something called Everyday Meditation, but I have not started yet.
Oh my
Okay.
god, she's making a first step. That's all.
And then
Good for you.
the last book is Brave New World. We need to talk about
A
having a new
brand
world.
new
We need a
world.
new world
Uh uh
system.
uh uh uh
All right. Oh
uh
my God. I
uh.
did read a lot of books. Thank you for making me sing
You
that.
sure did.
Good job, Vanessa. Good job.
29
Bravo, bravo,
books.
bravo,
Hey, hey,
bravo.
hey, hey.
That's what is your New Year resolution?
Ooh.
Whoop whoop
New
whoop.
Year resolution. So this year, 2020, I want to dedicate to my creative endeavors.
I thought she
So
would
I
Ooh.
want
say
to
me,
write.
man. I was waiting.
Um,
Hmm.
I want to
Yes, I can't wait for
write.
that book. I want to be your agent. Let's get it.
That's literally all I want to do this year. I want
Yes.
to write. I want to travel.
Good.
I want to I want to learn a couple new kind of things. I'm getting into like my little woo woo shit and I'm kind of
Oh, my
enjoying it a
phone is
lot.
dead.
Mm-hmm.
So do a lot more work in that.
Yes.
So yeah, like I
Snap,
really want to
snap.
kind of go with the flow and
Hey, don't
just
steal
but
mine.
like really kind of working, like
She's
kind of
exploring her inner self so that she can put things
yeah,
out.
like so I want to like
Yes. Oh,
put
I like that.
foundations down.
Explore your
I
inner
want to
self.
build things.
Man, we have no idea
She's
how
about to
beautiful we
expose
are on the
herself to the
inside,
world.
right? We have so
I
many
am
good
beautiful
things.
and I'm hungry right now. Jesus
I
Christ.
Understanding.
can't
Yeah,
stand.
you can tell when her like focus starts like going down.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
oh,
okay, buddy. We're gonna
but
go
yeah.
let you go
In
eat.
terms
As
of
a,
book,
future white person,
Shut up.
yeah, she can't really like feel hunger or anything
she
like that. No
should not be
suffering.
hungry.
No suffering at
She's
all.
not herself when she's hungry.
Shut up.
You need a snicker.
First of all, I want to see your manager. This is
Okay,
unacceptable.
Karen.
Yeah. But
Yo.
in terms of books, I read so this year. So I'm like a Netflix person with my books now. I just kind of pick something, binge it for a while, and then like let it
I
go.
do that too, and then I come back
So
to
I
it.
have not finished.
I can
Yeah,
never
so
do
I
that.
come back and I
If I
do like
stop
little
reading a book,
circles
I stop
around my books.
forever.
Mm-mm.
Oh no, I
I
come
come.
back.
It depends
Nah,
on my
because
mood.
if
It depends on my mood.
if I start reading a book,
Yeah,
I
so
have
like
no life. Like I
I'm
can't
not
sleep.
I'm not always in the mood for
It
that book
depends on
though.
my
So
mood.
sometimes I want to watch, like I want to read something different. So
Yeah,
I'm usually reading
three
like
books
three
at
or
the
four
same time. Me
books at once.
I could
Yeah.
not.
too.
Yeah. So I read let me see, let me look at
Yeah, tell me your list so I can
mine.
add it to mine. Go on.
I read Self Compassion by Dr. Kristen
Aw,
Neff. That was a very good book.
sounds good.
I read The Complete Anagram.
You're just gonna have to send me
I
the list,
read,
you know?
yeah, like The Willpower Instinct, The Design of Everyday Things by Dan Miller. He's really cool in terms of like helping you look at like how the world is designed around you.
Oh, okay. That sounds like something I need. I'm in La La Land.
Um, yeah, and I read And I a Woman by Bell Hooks. I started Elsewhere Home. That cast got me for my birthday.
Hey.
Um, I read Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino, and this one is so good. Like Trick Mirror is one of my
Okay, need that.
favorite books.
What is
Like
it
the
about?
it's about, so she gets into, it's like a collection of essays um uh about like self delusions.
Mm.
So kind of how
Ooh,
like in this
interesting.
society, so
Oh,
like
let me
kind of
add
in this
Right,
that
I just
society
add that
how
to my
we like,
list.
yeah, we she's young, she's like our age, she's a millennial, and she writes for the New Yorker. And she talks about how like we build this kind of
Mm.
personas and things of that
Oh
nature,
my
and she talks
god.
about
No, I don't want
technology,
her to
and
make me look at
it's
my
really
inner
good.
self
I
too
really
much.
recommend that.
Mm-mm.
She's not like very kind of like, it's not like
Oh, I'm
self-helpy at
like,
all,
I'll
it's
keep you
like
till
very
the end of the year then.
storytelling. Yeah, it's very storytelling. It gets you to think, but not by like, she's not actively trying. She's just telling a story. It's
Nice,
essays.
nice, nice. Okay.
I love
And
essays.
then
Really?
me too.
I don't
That's
know
my
why. I'm not really
Hmm.
into essay books. It feels like weird. I'm like, wait, hold up, what? I'm always like
I
that.
do
it's
really
good.
like essays. I
That's my
like
favorite.
compilation. That's why I really used
Yeah,
to
that's
like.
my
I used to
favorite
like
nonfiction
Moliere a
genre.
lot, even though he doesn't really write essay. It's more like
Hmm.
short stories and things like that. But I like. I mean,
Yeah.
I like certain things that are like
If
so
you,
small, but they have such a big
Mm-hmm,
significance. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean?
yeah,
Yeah, they carry a
yeah.
big punch.
Um,
I got you.
Yeah, because you get to start, and once you start writing essays, you get to start kind of paying attention to like a lot of different things around you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just kind of
Writing
like connecting
essays.
them to different
Hmm.
things. But yeah, so speaking of that, I read How We Fight for Our Lives by
Oh,
Saheed
that sounds
Jones,
like a good
and
book.
that one is like really good. Yeah, he's an amazing writer. Like his writing just is beautiful, and he writes this about, he's this gay black man who kind of grew up around the time where AIDS was big, and that's when he was kind of like this developing his
Mm,
sexuality, and just how he kind of wrapped up um like the AIDS crisis with his own sexuality, and he talks about like just coming out to his
mm-hmm.
mom and different things like that, but he tells it in a way that's just
Man, speaking
amazing.
of coming out, I never. I think this is so stupid. Nobody have to come out to their parents and say, "Hey, mom and dad, I'm heterosexual. I like the other
Bruh, that's
gender."
another
But
story
people
for
have to
another
come
day.
out
That's all I'm
saying
saying.
that.
That's a longer
It,
I
conversation.
don't think, like, so as someone who's done it, I don't think coming, a lot of times what you come to realize is that coming out is not really about your parent or whoever you're coming
Mm,
out to. A lot of times coming out is about coming out to yourself,
mm.
just
Finally
vocally.
embracing this
either
And
is
way,
who
like
you are.
I
for
really
me
feel
that's
like it
why.
shouldn't really even be a thing. People are just expected to be
Oh yeah,
attracted
they
to
expect it. They're
somebody,
like, oh, I didn't know this person was gay.
I
and
get that. So
it
like I
sucks.
get
And
all of that.
even if you have to come out to yourself, I think it sucks that at some point you have to come out to yourself. It's such a, I think
Yeah,
it's kind of sad that has to happen.
Mhm.
yeah, I agree.
Whereas it's just like it's a lack of freedom that you have, where you even have to come out, like you even have to come to that point where you have to come out to
Mhm.
yourself.
Right, like coming out shouldn't be a
Mhm.
thing. It should just be,
Right.
That's
Right.
what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying.
yeah, I get that. I get that. But yeah, so like that's a really good one. And The Water Dancer by Tanahasi Coates. So Tanahasi, I really love his work, but he's usually like he's a reporter for the Atlantic, and he usually writes nonfiction. But this is his first fiction book, and it's basically this fantasy book about, so it's set in slavery, but it is different. So he focuses on, so basically um it's about the Underground Railroad, and it's a version of the Underground Railroad where the people who participated in that organization had superpowers.
What?
So they were able to teleport. They were
Hey,
able to teleport and take people out of places using the power of
I would like
storytelling.
that. Or shit.
And like he writes it really really well. It's a very very good book, so I would really recommend that. And that came out
I
this
love how
year.
we just recommended so
But
many books to so many people.
Right.
How
yeah,
did we end up there?
it was really good. It was a
I
good
mean, New
year
Year's
for books.
resolution and all.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, really good year
Yeah,
for books.
I like that. I
So
like. Did you tell us your books, Cass?
yeah, no,
No,
Cass
because we
didn't.
weren't talking about books until we
I
got to
know I can't
you
help
wanting to
myself. You know what I'm saying? I just be adding things in there. Like, come on.
What are
um
your books?
I think one of my favorite books that I've read this year was The Pillars of the Earth by Ken
Mm.
Follett.
Okay.
It's just, it was such an amazing book.
I think you talked
I
about
think
that
it's
one to me.
about,
Yeah.
I think it's like 973
Okay.
pages,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a
Mm.
huge book.
Yeah.
But that book got me like so frustrated because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't go take a break to pee. I was at work and I was doing it, and I
You were
was
doing
like,
it.
I was just, I was just doing it, you guys. I
Yeah.
just couldn't
I believe
stop.
you.
And then so there is this book that I read when I was in high school, but I read it for a
Hmm.
paper. So I never really cared for it.
Hmm.
And I went and read it
Don't you love
again.
those? I did that too.
Right. It's like I hated that book so bad because I was just like reading it, taking notes so that I could write my paper. It's called Their Eyes Were Watching God. It's a really good one.
Yes.
I
Nora Zilla
Yes,
Hurston.
yes,
She's so
yes,
awesome.
yes.
Yes.
And then I am, well, I'm still reading
Zora
Mountains
Neale
Beyond
Hurston.
Mountains. Um,
Sorry.
that's a really good one. I even
I read
dive
that.
into fiction, Bartholomeus, which is a really funny book that I really needed at a time that I was not in a good mood. And
Hmm.
what is the other fiction that I read? Good Omen was really good. And then I was reading this whole book about like all of the arts that Da Vinci made. What's the name of that book? Ugh, hold on. I need to find out. Okay, I can't find it, but I have to get you guys a name because it's a really, really, really good one. And you know that Da Vinci is my bae, and I'm in love with him.
Yeah, but I did be. Okay.
And then I was reading Jesus, Uncovering the Life, Teaching, and Relevance of a Religious Revolutionary.
Jesus.
Okay.
It's talking about Jesus in the term of somebody who's like a revolutionary who was like rebelling against the government, and like in a social
Okay.
way versus like in a
Right.
religious way. Um,
His story would have
Hey.
been interesting.
what?
I'm sick. Did you hear me? I was
I
like,
said his
ah,
story would have been
bet.
interesting
Yeah,
if they had taken it
What?
that way.
yeah. It's a really really
Yes.
good book.
Why didn't they make the movie like that? You know what I'm saying?
Because they
I don't
gotta
Yo,
think
whip
this has anything to
somebody.
do
You
with the
know these people are masochists.
movie.
yeah.
uh,
You know how they be getting me to watch the Passion of
They
Christ
fucking
every freaking
love
year.
that whipping scene. They
Me
love that
too. Like
shit.
Matt.
They love it.
You know what I
Man,
like though? It's when they were like,
the
Lika
Creole
se
dub version.
pagasa de pinanggaling ni River just
I love the voiceover. I love the voiceover.
That Creole voiceover
Okay,
is some
quick
next level
little
shit.
tangent on that one. You
Like
know
it
what?
went
I'm
way
such
off.
an idiot. I
Liti
did
se
not know.
Wow.
I did not know that they used to do
You not
voiceovers,
laughing,
right?
man. Yo,
So
the
I
first time you
thought,
realize it,
Yo, I love
I
the
thought that
voiceover.
Jesus was
Lika has
him.
that whole movie memorized in Creole. I love that movie.
Bruh, I thought that nigga was just recording in Creole. I'm like, wow, he speaks Creole?
yes,
And you always wonder where they found all of those blonde to play in the movie.
yeah,
Bruh.
it's so crazy. It's so crazy now. Like when I hear anything that's dubbed in French, because sometimes like the person will have like an Indian accent, and now I know what an Indian accent is,
Yes, I
and
never
I
knew what
can't
accents
watch
were
it.
before.
I
I'm
get
like,
so
I'd
this is
never
pissed.
hear
not.
it.
You don't look like it. No, I can't do it. I'd rather watch something with subtitles and no sound
Me
or
Yes,
like
me
too.
or
too.
whatever
I keep
than watch
looking
a
at their
It's
dub.
so
lips. I keep
annoying.
looking at their lips and I'm like, that is not what you're saying.
And then the
Or
French
if
that
you
they're
Mm,
speak the
speaking, it's
language,
not even, I don't know what kind of French that is.
bruh.
Like, most
yes,
Or
people
girl.
don't
if you
even say
speak the language,
nene
you're like,
anymore, but that's what they
that's
always
not the
translate the women
translation.
to.
That's not
Um,
it.
Anyway,
Sorry,
guys,
go on.
we went way off.
I
Um,
know.
were you done
oh,
with
the
your list of
history
books
of
now?
everything is actually what? It's
No,
Oh,
actually
you
that
were going
sounds
with your list.
good.
is actually really
That
really
sounds
good,
good.
and that one was recorded to me by, I mean, was recommended to me by somebody who's really close to me.
Ooh, let me put that on there.
It's really really
Then
good.
you just gave a quick shout out, didn't you?
uh
Mm-hmm.
um
Finally, hey
excuse me.
person, hey
that little
person,
that little shout out was so quick.
how
This
you
book was recommended to
doing?
me.
Shut up.
This book was
Hey
recommended to
yo,
me with somebody really close to me.
Shut
so
up,
close.
Nessa.
How close?
What?
How
It
close?
was like the best book that was recommended to me this year.
Yeah, yeah,
How close?
yeah. This
Oh,
book was
Okay.
recommended to me. Mm-hmm.
Istanbul by John Freely is a really good one.
What's the name?
Jesus, how many
Istanbul.
books I'm gonna read this year? I don't even know.
Mm.
The year just starting, and I'm like,
I
yes,
bought so
creating
many
my.
books already that I need to read that I'm like, I just keep buying them and I'm like, I
They
just
look
stacking them.
so beautiful.
Today,
I'm not gonna
today
lie.
I got a new bookcase. So I'm super
Bruh, I
excited to
cannot
buy
wait
things
to
and
have a
put on there.
library in my house. That was gonna be so dope.
Yeah, most
I'm gonna have a
definitely.
secret entrance. I
Oh
can
yes,
picture
I
it in
want to
my
have a
head.
secret
I
entrance
wanna
in my
have a
library.
secret entrance. I wanna have a little nook, looking outside when I can see people, but people can't see me. What?
You know what I can't wait to have in my library though? Like
I definitely want a window seat.
what do you call them? Those steps where you need to slide side to side.
Mm-hmm.
I can picture it right
Like
now.
Like
the
when I used
ladders,
to
the
work for the
sliding
library at my
ladders.
school, I was never allowed to get on top of them. Now I'm gonna have one. It's
With
gonna be
reason. With
So
reason.
basically, you just want to recreate that scene in Beauty and the Beast.
Yo,
Got it.
I can picture it right
oh,
now.
I'm
Can I
gonna be
slide up there?
the guy like the in the Narnia first book
You know what?
where he
What
had
are
like
we
a
even
huge
talking
library.
about right now?
Like this episode, people are like, I am checking out.
Okay, I'm done. I'm going to
I'm
sleep now.
done. Actually, well, we
But
we got the
I think
rights to
we
be
are
random.
done.
Okay,
We
so
got the
another
right
thing before we end, we want to
lid.
remind you guys again, we are going to be in
Mm-hmm.
town on the
Hey,
21st of February.
24th,
So if you have not
24th of January.
if
Awesome.
you have not followed us yet, if you have not subscribe, if you
Hit
have
the
not
button.
send us some
Hit it.
emails, if you have not sent us suggestions, if you have not sent us letters,
Do it
do them
now.
now.
Do it
On the button.
now.
Just press on the button. It's
Hit
not
it.
that hard. It's not like you're
Hit
missing
it.
a finger. Even if you are, you can use a stick. Just
Or you can talk to it now. Talk
Bruh,
to your
You
phone.
can be
Siri
like,
got
Hey
me.
Siri.
Google,
Yo, I'm such an idiot.
Siri.
I love using Siri now. I'll be like, Siri, can you
Yeah,
write a
that's why
note
they're
for me?
recording your ass with Siri. But I'm still doing it though because
And
I
don't
need it.
forget, you can email us at 99% anomalypod at
Anomaly.
gmail.com.
Oh,
99% anomalypod at gmail.com.
Headed
All
from the
right.
old school. Don't let them rope you. You running things, stay in your lane, wishing to smoke you.
Connecté à la zone. Ça qui mourit, ça fait aïe.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget to tune in for our next episode next week on Wednesday.